Alright, so welcome back. It's Duval LeBlanc here, and I pretty much wanted to go over a little something that I've been doing within the last week or something ago. And the last video, I basically had built a static web page through Azure and got the code from this other content creator on YouTube, Cloud Guru. And they had made this tutorial on how to do it and everything, and I was interested in it, and I basically was only interested in the aspect of the static web page through Azure. I didn't care about the API stuff back end. You could like make a Azure NoSQL database and connect the web page through the API that you make with the tutorial and everything, but that required like .NET framework knowledge, and I'm not there yet. So like it was very intensive for what it is. So it's doable. It's also like 4 years. The video came out like 4 years ago, and the .NET framework that they use in there was like I think it was like 3 point something or 2.3 or something like that, and the one that is used now is like 8. So like I was trying to do certain things in the tutorial, and it was just obsolete. It just didn't work anymore. So whatever. So I made the page. I did everything. Found out how to do it the way I wanted to do it, which is great. Got some skill doing that, and now I have a static web page that I can work on and put like my information, myself, certificate, whatever, all the stuff that I want to plan on learning and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened since that time. But this week, I started looking at stuff about front end stuff, front end dev and everything. And like when I was in college, I did that a little bit, and I kind of like put it to the back burner. I kind of didn't invest a lot of time into it at the time. Say that was weird to say. In time at the time, that was weird. But I didn't really invest a lot of time into doing that stuff. So now that I'm settled and I'm like, all right, I'm trying to advance certain things of myself. I want to learn the front end again. And now the second stage would be the back end, because I want to do full stack. So for right now, there is this nice program that people were talking about. I'm in like Discord and everything about stuff like this for programming and everything. And they recommended Odin Project. And I looked it up, I researched it, and I really liked it. I liked what the message it was trying to say. So a lot of the times when people are learning something, so say it's not even programming or developer stuff, say it's just you're trying to learn something new. A lot of times people watch online, like a technical skill, not like a gym routine, like a technical like skill with you have to work on with maybe technology and stuff like that. People will watch tutorials on YouTube. And if you watch a lot of tutorials, you'll feel like, oh, this is it. You know what the hell you're doing. Oh, man, I know how to do this. Like, you feel like you know what you're doing. And then the reason you feel that way is because the tutorial is telling you how to think. So it's telling you what decisions to make, and this is why you should do this, and it shows you what to do. So people watch it and be like, oh, man. So, like, I remember when I was doing this years ago, when I was learning it, I was watching tutorials and everything, and then I remember I had to do something to do a project, and I couldn't. It was just, all right, I couldn't do it. I just gave up. This is years ago. So, like, what I liked, what the Odin Project did is it kind of explained that process of what happens to a lot of people. And so I liked their, like, preamble of their project of explaining, you're going to go through certain phases of this. You probably did the tutorials and everything, and now you're trying to get more in depth into it. And I'm at a point where I'm in the project part where it's like you're in hell. you're like constantly like, what the heck am I doing? Like, what is like you're in that, but that's where you're learning. So like that's the unfamiliarity of everything is important, so that you can be like, it's like you're walking in a cave and you can't see, but you hoist yourself to the wall or like whatever, right? So but anyway, I've been doing that project, and I don't know, I really liked. The beginning was I already know about networking. I know about like IT things like that they explained. They gave like a brief explanation of things because you have to be familiar with some of these subjects if you're going into it. So they explained a little bit about networking, internet, packets of data, moving, stuff like that. But then it went into Git and version control. And I myself worked with doing. I already had a GitHub for like 3 or 4 years now, and I've used it for other things, and so I've dabbled in it already to where I know a bit about it. Not so I wouldn't say I'm a professional, but I know about Git and GitHub. So it was explaining it, and I had learned something new that I didn't know I could do with this project, which was I didn't know you can send commits and push through the terminal. I've been sending commits through the IDE. This is for the last three. I was like, what? You can do that through the terminal? And it explained this process of doing it, which I'll link a video of me like doing it. Basically, like you would go through the terminal here, and these are the commands for like git status of showing, okay, so this is the status currently of whatever repo you're working on, whatever cloned repository you're locally working on. This is the status of that repository locally on the computer, right? And so the version control aspect is saying, well, if I'm working on this thing locally, and these are all the things, the logs, so there's the log and stuff like that. There's different commands that you can do to basically push up this version of the repository to the staging process, which will allow it to be synced to the GitHub cloud, right? And I, for the last years, have been doing it through whatever IDE I was using. I think before I was learning a little Python like a couple years ago, and I had PyCharm, the PyCharm IDE, and yeah, and I believed I signed in with my GitHub on through the IDE, and I was pushing repos up there, but I was doing it through the IDE. I didn't know you could do this through the terminal. That just blew my mind. I was like, oh, and it's much easier, and you can do everything. I prefer to use CLIs, command line interface. If I'm trying to do something, I always feel like for this to be efficient, for where I can recreate this particular task repeatedly with efficient manner where I'm not making a mistake, you should use a command line interface. You should use a terminal. And so I prioritize learning the terminal for certain things. And the fact that I can do commits and push them through the terminal was just amazing. I didn't know I could do that. And so that really was great for me. So basically it went up to GitHub, and then I was able to see the updates there. So when you push something up from your IDE and you go to your GitHub account, it shows up right there. Like it'll tell you, when was this last updated. So I did this like 2-3 days ago. And as you can see here, it shows the history of the last time this was like the commits that I did. So 3 commits, and they went up 3 days ago, right? So the most recent was the edit readme. This edit readme.md hello world was the message I put through the terminal. You can write the message that you want it to say through the terminal. So I thought that was amazing, and I'm really sold. They sold me. So now the next phase of the project is HTML. It's going to go over that. I have somewhat of an idea of HTML because I have worked in it, CSS, in college, but that was years ago. So now I'm getting into the swing of things, back into it. So I'm really impressed with this Odin project. So I also like how it has a Discord. It has community. So because if I assume down the line I'm gonna have issues with things, projects or whatever, it's good to know that you have a community you can ask. So when I get there, I hope it's as good as it say it is, and that's pretty much it. I started doing Odin Project to get better at learning web dev and web development stuff, front end, back end stuff. So that's my goal. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Duval LeBlanc. See you guys in the next video. Peace.